I've stopped spending my money on a lot of things that people consider normal, like nails, waxing, gym memberships, and eating out. And I don't completely miss them. This didn't happen overnight. I slowly started to swap my services with at-home systems that made more sense for my routine, my schedule, and my budget. In this video, I'll be sharing what I stopped spending my money on, what I replaced it with, and which swaps were actually worth it, because not everything needs to be cut to save your money. I've been seeing a lot of de-influencing videos lately, and honestly, I've been on this train for a while. So I wanted to share some of the ways that I personally stopped spending my money on, or at least the ways that I'm doing them differently now. Because this isn't necessarily about depriving yourself of the fun things in life, it's more about being intentional. So I decided to break this up into a few different areas or buckets. So the first one being services I moved into the home, luxuries I moved into the home, fitness and wellness that I kind of, zhuzhed around, and then I have a miscellaneous bucket. Section number 1, services I moved into the home. Okay, this one's for the girlies, but waxing and hair removal. Okay, I used to go for waxing appointments quite regularly until I started to learn that I was comfortable kind of doing them myself. Now, this might be a comfortability thing, it might be a I don't know what I'm doing thing, but I eventually was just so fed up with going to appointments and spending my time there. So I moved this in-house. There are other ways and factors that you could do your hair removal. One being going to a laser appointment. It's a larger investment, but for a better payout, in my opinion. I personally got influenced by one of those IPL laser light things that you do at home. So weekly, I will set aside time for myself where I can spend time doing that to myself. You do have to be consistent with it, which is the only way it works. And weeks that I'm not consistent, I definitely notice it. But overall, I would say that this was a more enjoyable experience for me than going to a Brazilian appointment or an armpit wax appointment or whatever. Anyways, moving on. Manis and pedis. This is something I would consider a treat. I wouldn't consider doing this on a regular basis, though there was a point in time where I almost built the habit of going often because it felt nice to get your nails done or your toes painted or whatever. I have now swapped it for at home. I do a pumice rock on my feet weekly, so that way they don't get crusty and gross. You're on your feet all the time. It just happens. But for my nails, I set time aside for myself so I can actually do them. Do have an at-home kit where I have the heat lamp thing. I have a bunch of different nail colors that I'm very excited about. There's so many things that you can get off of Amazon. You can get them from a local store to do these things at home, and I just find overall the cost has completely gone down because I'm not going out paying for a service and tipping. I'm able to do it at home in the comfort of my house, and I get to pop on a movie or spend time with friends doing it, whatever it may be. I just find that this one definitely I would consider a treat. Okay, moving along. This one is definitely going to be a hot take. Haircuts. Okay, haircuts for girls, so expensive. Wildly expensive. I do not appreciate how expensive a girl's haircut is. In the last couple of years here, I have bought my own pair of scissors, I bought my own pair of thinning scissors, and I just decided to take time to learn on the internet how to cut my own hair. I don't think I would do this if my hair was shorter, but because I have longer hair and I feel like it's more forgiving, you actually just don't notice it that bad. I consider this a huge treat. I am getting a haircut this year. I am due for one. Usually when I go to a haircut, I will cut my hair off into a bob or something short, just so I have a longer period growing my hair before I have to get it cut again. I don't know, what do you think? Would you cut your own hair? Daily coffee. We make coffee at home every single day, and it's so important to us. It's it is life. So typically when we go out, we really like expensive, fancy things. So we'll probably spend, depending on the cafe, sometimes we will spend about $12 on 1 cup of coffee, and other times we'll spend about 8. We typically get 3 bags at a time each order, and that will maybe last us 2 to 3 weeks, depending on how much we're drinking. Espresso drinks. So still on the coffee realm, but going out for a latte, something you physically cannot produce at home because an espresso machine costs $6,000 plus, is quite inaccessible. I know that there's a lot more affordable machines out there. We have the morning machine, and it is a pod machine that does produce espresso. We buy the specialty pods naturally, so they're a little bit more expensive, but they have a profile on them for the specific coffee that's in the pod, and we can change the temperature, we can change the overall yield, we can change the bar pressure on this machine. And so I really like it because it is that in between of not necessarily having an espresso machine where I have to dial in my coffee and go through this whole process, but I can still have a good cup of quality espresso without all the fuss. In terms of milk, this is another one. A frother, I would say, is a huge game changer. You could buy these things from $35 to $60 on Amazon. I probably use my milk frother every single day. At times I will make my own syrup, and so like just having like a steamer. We make lots of hot chocolate in the winter. We used it to warm up our eggnog over the holidays. There's lots of reasons to have a milk frother. On top of that, you can cold froth things. So if you're like a cold drink person, you can make your own cold foam. If you like those like Starbucks beverages, there's so much you can do with it. Anyways, I'll leave it at that, but a milk frother is definitely one of the ones that I probably could not live without in my own home. Okay, section 3. Gym and fitness, and overall memberships. Now, the gym may be very convenient to you if you live in an apartment building that has a gym accessible within your building. I used to, and it was awesome, and I loved it. However, we moved into a townhouse that no longer has that situation. So we had to recreate our own. What we did at home, because we're very fortunate to have the space, we have a gym set up downstairs. We splurged on a treadmill, which is probably one of the MVPs of all of the things we've ever purchased. It's one of the most used things in our household. A gym membership. Hi, post-editing Shay. My clip has no audio for whatever reason, so I'm just gonna quickly run through it again. When I'm talking about gym memberships, I am talking about rec centers specifically. I'm not talking about a Good Life that locks you in forever. If you can find a rec center in your area that has a swimming pool, that has hockey rinks, that has soccer rinks or arenas, whatever they're called, typically the memberships for that encompass everything. So that's usage of all of those things, including whatever drop-in sports or programs that they run. I know the rec center near us offers a family membership monthly reoccurring for $145. It's 2 adults and unlimited kids under that same household, and you're literally allowed to utilize anything that's available for the public. So that could be public swim, it could be public skating, soccer, volleyball, basketball, racket sports. On top of that, they offer really bomb classes. I've gone to weightlifting classes, yoga classes, boxing, Pilates, the whole ladder, and all of those are included in that membership, which I didn't know existed until moving here, but I know that other gyms offer the same thing. So if you have a rec center in your area, I highly recommend looking into that. Maybe you could utilize a little bit of everything, not so much a gym unless that's just what you're looking for. But again, looking for that better bang for your buck. Anyways, back to the rest of the video. When I was in university, I would either take part in karma classes or I would be like a karma cleaner. I was really obsessed with hot yoga at the time, and my studio offered like karma, I don't know what it was called, but essentially it was like volunteering your time a few hours a week, and then you would get unlimited yoga. It was phenomenal. I guarantee you most studio spaces do this. I know climbing gyms back home did it. There's a studio I go to here that also does it. You just offer a few hours every week and you get an unlimited membership, which is phenomenal. So if you have the time and the capacity to do so, I highly recommend that. It is not only a way to get yourself moving, but it's a way to meet people. It's also something to put on a resume too. So that is something that came in clutch when I didn't have any money to spend on my fitness and really wanted to do something special for me. If you have a health and wellness account and your dollars can go towards fitness classes, also recommend doing that. That's what I did with my last job. Why wouldn't you spend it on something that would give back later on? So something to think about. The other one that I will say comes in clutch is if you have the capacity to have a part-time job at a fitness center or gym or something like that, huge perks. Another thing that you can do to get yourself moving without spending a ton of money is looking on Facebook for various groups. So I know in my community, we have walking clubs, we have running clubs for just women, we have running clubs for everybody, including dogs and kids. There's trail running groups that exist, and all of these are free. You just need a pair of sneakers. So it is a really nice way to meet people, see different trails, kind of explore what you like and what you don't like, and then go from there. What else could you possibly do? YouTube. You can look up YouTube classes. Mind-blowing. I have come across so many different programs for mobility. I've come across weightlifting or like circuit classes for free, whole programs that exist out here for us to use for free. And all you need is to be at home and like the effort to put in. So this is something I'll be testing out later on in the year. I have a full program ready to go, locked and loaded, and it's completely free and exists on YouTube. So those exist too. So if you're trying to figure out how to move your body and not spend $28 for a fitness class, there's free stuff that exists online. And no, maybe it's not aesthetic and you don't have fancy mirrors and cute mats and cute outfits. You don't need to. You just need to move your body. Other things I stopped spending my money on, we're gonna rapid fire: food delivery apps and just like dining out frequently. These are things that are so costly, and I have been guilty for doing a lot of this. We lived in an area where it was just super convenient to always go out. It was, the norm to go check out the new restaurant or try the new thing. We don't do it anymore. It's out of the way. We moved to a place where it's inconvenient for me to leave the house. I just don't care. New clothes every season. I'm not perfect at this, but I'm much, much better at this. So essentially what I do is every season I will swap out my clothes. So all my summer clothes and my spring clothes live in a completely different closet. Back when I was in a tiny apartment, it would live under my bed in different bins, and they were organized by summer, spring, whatever. And currently right now, all I have are my winter clothes, pants, leggings, anything that's geared towards the weather or the season that we're in now. So when I switch my clothes every season, it feels like I have something new, because technically I do. I haven't seen it for like 9 months. Paid apps and unused subscriptions. We go through this very often. I got Dylan to check in this year. I was like, wait, why are you still paying for this? You don't use it. We go through our subscriptions often. It's very handy to know what is on a reoccurring, annual subscription versus a month to month. Typically when we buy subscriptions, we do annually just because they're a little bit cheaper. But the moment we purchased a subscription, we made sure to cancel it immediately. So we know that next year we're not being charged right away. So it's something to definitely take a peek at. Trending-based home decor. Now, we have a home now, so that typically comes with more stuff. We buy more stuff. We bought one box. And I told my husband, if things start to pop out of the box or the box doesn't close anymore, then we have to get rid of things and we can no longer buy any more Christmas stuff. Same for Halloween. We have a small bin downstairs. If anything starts to pop out of that bin, then no longer. They're pretty modest too. They're not very big bins, but they're just enough to make it feel like something magical in here. Premium phone upgrades. Now, the new iPhone came out recently. Do I want it? Yes. Do I need it? No. We bought our phones outright, so we don't have like a monthly cost, and we both have pretty cheap, I think they're like $30 to $40 phone plans on both of our phones, because again, you don't need too much. Every time you turn in your phone and you restart the process of paying for a phone again, you're paying to lease out something versus actually owning it. And I learned this a long time ago, but it was something hard for me to connect with because you always want the new thing. Lastly, I have on here paid parking. Now, I know this is something that isn't completely avoidable, but essentially when we're going anywhere, if we're going to the mountains or we're going into the city, we really try avoiding anywhere that has paid parking in it, and we'll park a lot farther in an area that has free parking and just walk 10 extra minutes. Not only is that good for you to spend the extra time outside, moving around, do you really want to spend like $10 on parking? I didn't replace all of these things at once. In fact, some of these things I still do every once in a while. It's totally okay to treat yourself. My intention here is just to bring awareness that not all of these things are necessities that you need to do to keep up in life or to show face. For some of the more costly things that we replaced, we did this piece by piece. Like, mind you, we lived in this home without a couch for almost a full year. We are buying things very slowly, very intentionally, and when we can. It's not something that gets done all at once. So just keep that in mind while you're thinking about all the different ways that you might enjoy bringing some of your own things into your own home. I'm always looking for new things to not only try, but also challenge myself with. And I'd love to know some of the things that you might stop spending your money on. If you're feeling it, please leave it in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what your results are. Anyways, I hope you liked this video. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love to have you here, and I'll see you guys in the next one.